Welcome to Bradford and Brooks with your host, Margie Bradford and Jim Brooks, live on WBRT here in downtown Bardstown. The show is sponsored by Springview Hospital in Lebanon. Thank you for listening to 97.1 FM, 1320 AM, and 94.9 FM in Lebanon. Bradford and Brooks, a civil discourse of discussion where community involvement is encouraged. Bradford and Brooks is on.
All right, let's see. Good morning, Don Thrasher.
Good morning, Jim Brooks and Margie Bradford. How are you?
Good morning.
Well, we're glad to. We finally got the stars aligned, Don, and we're on the same page about scheduling. So glad to have you on. Very glad.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back with you guys. Just miss again being with you in person. Just like last year we had. I guess we weren't able to. Or last time I was on, I wasn't able to be with you in person. But I hate doing it on the phone. But we got to do what we got to do.
No, that's right. That's right. And Don, and of course, as I was explaining to listeners a few minutes ago, you have announced your intention to seek the office of Judge Executive. And so tell us a little bit about your decision to do that. When Tim Hutchins was on, he said that you had encouraged him to run. And so I think he acted, he was kind of surprised that you joined the race. But with an open seat the way it is, with no incumbent, it kind of opens the door for, it can be anybody's ball game.
Well, Tim's right. I encourage Tim to run. I encourage, whatever Republican, that feels qualified to run, I welcome them in a primary because I think having a primary is healthy.
Absolutely.
And I told this to Tim. I know Tim is kind of opposed to having, an opponent in the primary. I told him on the phone about a week ago, I said, Tim, they're healthy for public participation. It's healthy for, to give people choices. I think one of the best things for any party or any election is to have a contested primary because, it validates and legitimizes the winner and it gives people options. It brings out debate. If you just have one person and, let's say the party says, oh, well, we don't think you guys should primary, such and such. Well, by doing that, it really is a disservice to the voter, and I just think it's healthy to have a primary.
Well, Don, I don't disagree with you one bit, and I think, and it's all. I've always felt that incumbents should always have to, have their feet held to the fire and just not given an easy re-election. They should defend what they've done so far in office. Exactly,
and to your original question, one of the reasons why I had put feelers out to people. I said, it was kind of an open thing, and I hadn't. I'm sure you guys know that I didn't seek re-election for party chair because I was planning on running for something in 2022, and I hadn't made up my mind. So I'd just been putting some feelers out, asking people, and I said, what do you guys think? What should I do? Should I not run at all, or should I run, or what should I do? And I asked a lot of people, and everybody. Actually, one person said, you should run for magistrate, but everybody said run for judge executive, and they said, I was kind of I really was on the fence about it, but, if people are wanting change, people want honest, transparent government, and, that's what I keep hearing over and over again. They want new ideas, new, fresh, ethical, honest, transparent government. And, I think what we're seeing, in in different areas of county government, there's so many people that feel in Nelson County that feel like they don't have a voice.
Right.
And I think we need to change that. And I think one of the things is I wouldn't want to reinvent the wheel. This is not about reinventing the wheel. I just want to make it easier for Nelson Countyans to be Nelson Countyans. I don't want it. Nelson County government should be there to help people and make their lives easier, not make their lives harder.
Right.
Well, can you give any specific instances of where you think there has been non-transparency? And what would you do differently? I mean, how would you govern differently?
Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. So one of my big things is I would definitely want to return public comment back to fiscal court meetings. They've been removed. You used to be able to go in and give notice, and that's been removed. So you don't have that option anymore. You have to be a guest, an invited guest by Judge Watts or a magistrate to speak. I think anybody should get 3 minutes on any subject that's relative to county government in the fiscal court. You should get 3 minutes and be able to address it in open session. And I mean, that is one of the fundamentals of petitioning government. You can email and send letters and make phone calls, but ultimately public comment is so important to our democratic republic. It's like if you take that, when you take that away from people, that's another. I mean, that's when people say they don't have a voice. I mean, that's the ultimate symbol of having a voice in your county government, is being able to, for that 3 minutes. I mean, whether or not the magistrates or the judge executive agree or disagree with you, hear that person out. I mean, those people, people bring up good points. I mean, a lot of people discount, just because somebody's, not college educated or something, they discount, their ideas or thoughts. These people, there's some amazing people in this county that have ideas and thoughts that, just common sense. And I think we're abandoning that when we take away the public comment section. So that's one of my big things I really, really would like to bring back, is returning public comment, which was taken away about, a year ago, I believe, Jim?
Yeah, something like that. You're right. Yeah.
And, another thing, it's back in 2018, I really was wanting to revamp the ethics ordinance. Because, I'd actually proposed some changes to the ethics ordinance. And, I know both of you guys are very familiar with the Ethics Commission. Right now, they don't have any subpoena power or investigative power whatsoever. I believe that the complaints to the Ethics Commission should be made under oath. I think all persons and statements to the Ethics Board should be under oath. And I think one of the key changes I'd like to make is the language in the ethics ordinance, as it currently stands, is substantial financial interest. I'd like to change that to financial or private interest, because it creates a higher. It's right now it's a higher standard, and I think you want any perception of conflict of interest or unethical behavior, we need to just eliminate it, because people shouldn't be questioning government. People shouldn't be questioning, well, such and such did this and he's associated with this. Well, let's take that into account in our next ethics ordinance change, and make sure people are satisfied in not questioning. Look, whether or not there's any corruption or any alleged corruption, if there's a perception of corruption that's prevalent in the county, that people believe that there's this perception, let's address that, because people should be able to. I mean, this is. I get on my soapbox about this. I'm sorry, but we the people. I mean, that's I mean, that is the essence of what we're supposed to be about. Even at the county level, it's we the people. This is our county. This is our government. This is, this is, people shouldn't feel that there is corruption or special interest or somebody's getting special deals or somebody's getting, we got to eliminate that perception. And I think that's one of the ways to do it, is by changing the ethics ordinance.
So you would think that, I'm trying to grasp here what you're implying is that the ordinance, that the ethics committee should have more power? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. So right now they have no they don't have investigative power. Really, they have no subpoena power. When you walk in there and make a complaint, someone could just come in and say, "Oh, well, this just isn't true." But the person, I think all people that go before the ethics board need to be under oath. If you're making material statements before the ethics board, you need to be under oath. Because right now, you could make a statement and it could be completely untrue, and there's no ramifications, and there's also no clawback. In other words, if somebody benefits from or gets some pecuniary benefit from what they're doing that's unethical in this county, there's no clawback. So in other words, right now the Ethics Commission has no teeth to get money back. So let's say somebody was doing something unethical and they made $10,000 off of it or something.
Right.
Well, there's ethical, like I believe Bullitt County has a clawback that says they have the ability to get that money back through civil action. Well, it's not even built into our ethics ordinance. We have a bare bones, and Judge Watts admits this, and I've discussed this at length, but it's basically just a bare bones kind of just a template of what was whenever it was passed, and we need to make adjustments. And yes, ma'am, I do think we need to give the Ethics Commission more power.
Well, it would have to be it would have to be completely rewritten, and it would be making it more an arm of the court. If you're talking about under oath.
Well, when you're doing it under oath, it's basically under penalty of perjury. So if you perjure yourself, it's like when you fill out an affidavit, that's under penalty of perjury. That's under oath. Right. So it's I think it's. I know it sounds complicated, but really it isn't. All you're just doing is saying, I verify the veracity of this under oath and penalty of perjury.
Right. Well, Don, I think you would find that members of the ethics committee would probably agree that there's certainly updates needed. Pardon me. But let's move on a little bit so we to some other topics related to judge executive. Dean Watts has mentioned several times that the next judge executive in the next fiscal court may have to really look at the county's revenue stream with the rising cost of EMS and the jail and the landfill, and he's predicting eventually rising costs will outstrip the county's ability to bring in revenue, which that kind of points to how does a government create new revenue? Well, generally through some sort of fee, or let's just call it a tax. What are your thoughts on the county's future as far as revenue goes, and how, I think everybody wants to avoid new taxes, but what are your thoughts on that?
So the 2021-22 appropriated budget is about $37 million. Obviously, about $9 million of that is from the COVID ARPA fund, American Rescue Plan Act fund. And so, when you're talking about taxes, of that, let's take that $9 million out. We're talking usually about a $26-27 million budget. So of that, a lot of that's flow through. But you do have about $4.5 million from property tax, from real estate tax.
Right.
And you have about $1 million from motor vehicle personal property tax. Then we bring in about another $1 million from distilled spirits tax.
Right.
So, there are. The revenue stream right now is fine, but there is potential for there's some black holes that there's potential for black holes.
Mm-hmm.
You have the jail and you have EMS. I don't think, that's another thing. We have, there's issues where, there's reimbursement from the state on certain things. I don't know if we would ever have to raise taxes, but yeah, it's definitely possible. But obviously, I would make sure, as a conservative, my philosophy is, if you don't have it, don't spend it.
Right.
But there's just sometimes where there's situations where you have to. But yeah, that my philosophy is conservative, I think Dean was pretty conservative in terms of the fiscal, in terms of spending. I think he's been very fiscally oriented. So I haven't had an argument with him on most of his spending, because he hasn't gone overboard.
Right.
So
right.
He's not excessive. He's not some leftist that's coming out and just wanting to spend on a lot of social projects and things. He's been very judicious.
Right. Well,
so I'd like to continue. that and build on that, and the economy. If we keep building our economy, I'd like to build on making sure that we are economically viable in terms of our business position. And I think we have a strong distillery industry, and I think I'd like to build on that, build on entrepreneurial endeavors, and there's no reason we can't have a diverse entrepreneurial projects in this county. And I think diversifying also is beneficial, because if we want to have good EMS, good jails, we have to have a good tax base.
Right.
And the tax base comes from having good businesses. A diverse business, I think, is key.
Right. Well, Don, you mentioned economic development, and right now there's really no developable industrial park land available in Nelson County that's owned by the county or the city. There's very little. What are your thoughts about the government's role in locating, developing property for industrial development? I know that the purchase of the current county industrial park generated some controversy, because we never thought we would ever fill that industrial park, but it's just about full now. I think there's maybe a developable tract left, but certainly it's benefited the county, though there was a lot of investment to bring the infrastructure to that property from the beginning. So what are your thoughts on the county or city, the government involvement in those sorts of projects?
Well, Wally Dant has just done an incredible thing down in the southern part of the county.
Absolutely.
And I think that the role of government should be to get out of the way of entrepreneurs like Wally Dant.
Mm-hmm.
We need to give people like that the ability to cut red tape, cut regulations, make sure that they have what they need from government in terms of regulation, cutting the red tape. And that should be our priority, because there's places like Chaplin and Bloomfield that they could do, similar things around the county. It doesn't have to be, necessarily something the county buys a new industrial park or something of that nature or expands. I mean, I think we need to help other parts of the county, like what happened down, in the southern part of the county with Wally did. And if we can cut the red tape and stay out of the way of knowledgeable entrepreneurs that, have a vision that I think that is something that make it an extraordinary economy. I just think that the spirit of entrepreneurial American spirit and what we can do by cutting red tape and by eliminating such regulations that make it hard for entrepreneurs to do business. If we can do that, I think that would be better than necessarily buying, or trying to, start a new industrial park or something like that. I think, I've always been for less government, less regulations. I think you and I agree on that, Jim, especially when it came to those storage containers, or the cargo container issue. Especially people in the county, they just want to be left alone. They want, I said this at the beginning, the role of county government should be to make your life easier, not harder. And, I think that's the mantra.
Right. Well, Don, just curious about your thoughts. There are developers who will complain about the planning and zoning, and all the alleged hoops that people have to jump through to get permits, and then certainly building inspections, electrical inspections. The county has an extensive inspection program, and of course the goal is to make sure quality construction and homes and businesses are built safely. Do you think that our regulations go too far in as far as dictating how buildings are built, or are you satisfied that things are on the right course?
Well, when it comes to electrical and building inspections, those are the standards set by code. So, we have to abide by the code, the building code, and I don't think obviously that's not what I'm talking about when we say cut red tape. When I say cut red tape, let's make it easier for someone to do what Wally did. Make it easier for somebody to do it in Cox Creek. If the people of the area agree with it, and that's the thing. We have situations where, you remember the drug rehab facility that was proposed for Cox's Creek. You saw that people in the community, were just against it.
Right.
And I think we need to listen to the people, and there it goes with public comment and thing. And that's another thing I want to bring up. I had mentioned in 2018 about night meetings. Having kind of a hybrid of night meetings. I still want to do that. If I was lucky enough to be elected, I would want public participation at night, because especially for something like that Woodlawn Springs decision or something else, it's people. They can't take off work. People, that's not it. You can't expect people to take off work to come to a fiscal court meeting to be able to talk for 3 minutes, or even just be able to listen to the half hour or hour fiscal court and expect them to do that, because it's just not fair. People work.
Right.
So I think, that's another key thing. I really want night meetings for, a hybrid, some day meetings, some night meetings.
Right.
We know that there's going to be something important where people want to come and comment, let's do it. Let's have a night meeting. And that just goes along with the whole theme of transparency, open government. And that's really one of my key fundamental pushes.
Right. The Nelson County EMS, of course, is owned by the county, and it's the county supports it financially. And the whole goal of owning the EMS service was to continue to provide quality service to Nelson County when there were concerns that a private organization would not offer quality service to the outlying areas of the county. And years ago there have been discussions about, well, should it be privatized? Should the county continue to fund the operation? You do have any specific thoughts about that? I'm thankful we have it, but as you know, costs continue to go up, and reimbursements don't seem to keep up with the increased costs.
Well, I would be opposed to privatizing either the EMS or the garbage landfill.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was brought up in 2018 by another candidate. I've never really subscribed to that. I just don't. I think right now they're doing fine. There's no reason to privatize anything. If anything, we need to figure out why these reimbursements and what's going on with why is the federal government, the state, not paying enough for like EMS reimbursements. What's going on? I know that there's some issues with the federal government not paying enough, but it's important. And I when somebody's having a heart attack, and I want them to get the best care that the county could give them at the time, because you know what, to me, a lot of times people think, well, let's just have an ambulance and do whatever, but one of these days it's going to be us.
That's right.
And I think is that you guys?
Yep. Sorry, that was my phone ringing.
Okay. So yeah, one of these days people need to remember that. One of these days that could be you, your mom, or anybody that in that ambulance. So yeah, I want the best care that we can give them, and I think we have a good EMS system right now
mm-hmm.
in Nelson County, and I wouldn't want to change it. I want to make sure that they're funded properly. I want to make sure that, and you know what? I think Joe Pruitt actually does a good job of getting grants.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him last time at the fiscal court, and he was telling me about another grant that he got. And I think that's great. I think he's doing a good job of doing that. And I think trying to sell it off or privatize it would be a huge mistake.
Right. Well, Don, let's see. I'm looking over my list of questions. You've covered a lot of this. There's been discussion about maybe the county being involved with the city as far as of course they're helping fund a study of a multi-purpose recreational mm-hmm. facility that would include probably an indoor pool, indoor track, some other facilities. What are your thoughts on that? Because that seems to be a priority among a lot of Nelson County residents.
Well, there's really, when you talk to people, there's nothing for kids or teenagers to do. What is it? Idle hands for the devil's workshop. I think, if we can do something that, doesn't create a revenue, a continuing revenue need from the county, I think that would be ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But how can you do that? How can you say we want an extensive facility, but we're not going to do anything to support it?
Well,
those things don't run on dreams.
Right. No, exactly. And that'd be that would have to be whoever's making the proposal to do it. And I know they did that YMCA study previously. About 4 or 5 years ago?
Right. Yes.
And the YMCA, that's obviously they didn't want to do it, or the county didn't want to do it, the city didn't want to do it. There needs to be participation throughout the county. This is a quality of life issue.
Right.
If I'd like to see some private-public partnerships here with the distilleries and the bourbon industry, because this benefits the quality of life of their workers. And
sure.
This we can have an outstanding facility, but it needs to be a partnership with industry, because there's possibilities here for us to have a good quality recreation program, but we have to do it the right way. But we can't do it where it's going to be draining revenue.
Right.
That's why I say let's see what kind of private partnership we can do in from industry.
In other words, you want to do it if you can get somebody else to pay for it.
Well, yeah, basically. But we'd also like to. There's a statute that allows for a recreation fee-based capital investment program,
mm-hmm.
and we can write a bond or industrial revenue bond to somebody, a private, say somebody private wants to come in, and we can do an industrial revenue bond and guarantee it. But I don't know if anyone's seeking that out right now.
Right.
But if this the need is there for this.
Right.
But it's just a question of how we do it. And I don't want to say let's just jump in and do this, and we need to look at every option, and we need to look at like public-private partnership, or even just a private company that we're willing to do an industrial revenue bond to pay the capital on.
Right. I think that's a good idea, Don. I know that my wife has had that idea. We have so much industry here, and this would be such a benefit to the entire community that you would think that some sort of public-private partnership would be able to not just help fund the construction, but also the ongoing cost. And I think that's probably the biggest fear for a city and county government, is covering those costs each year.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Well, Don, we're getting down to the wire here, and I didn't want to burn up all the time without giving you an opportunity. Are there any particular issues that you want to talk about this morning?
Well, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that my platform is going to be for open, honest, and transparent government. I want people to feel that they have their voice. I want people to be confident in their county government. I want people to not, people shouldn't have to, be suspect of whether or not there's corruption going on in their county government. That's my biggest thing. And, I think just improving transparency. The magistrates get those packets. You know what I'm talking about,
right.
Tim. I think, I would like to have them scanned in the same thing that they get and put that available online in PDF for people.
Right.
Give people access. Knowledge is power.
Right.
And, when people are kept in the dark, they get suspicious. When things are done behind closed doors, they get suspicious. And rightly so. I mean, we're what Justice Brandeis said, the best disinfectant is sunlight.
Right.
And, let's just have the most basic transparency is just keeping people informed. Right. And I really, really like to do that. And I do have to say this, Jim. You have, pretty much done a lot for open, transparent government with what you do. When you videotape these meetings, fiscal court, city hall, when you do these things, I mean, you offer a public service to people that I don't think people totally appreciate, what you do. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up you. I really believe this. I believe that, because when people, whether or not 50 people view, a fiscal court meeting or whatever, you're making that available for people. And I mean, to me, that's what government's supposed to be about.
Right.
And, that's my theme. That's my focal point.
All right. Well, I appreciate your kind words, Don. One quick question, though, and this is totally unrelated, but I think I posed this one to Tim, and it's fair game. The city has been, and I think the county would agree it's needed, a western bypass around Bardstown, because we're inundated with heavy trucks coming down North 3rd Street. And I had somebody in tourism point out to me that, Jonesy, the carriage operator, he was taking a load of tourists through town, and he had a semi in front of him and a semi behind him. There really needs to be a bypass to take that truck traffic out of town and around it. Would you, as judge executive, would you lobby in favor of the state in favor of building such a bypass? Yes,
I agree completely. I mean, you have these. I mean, that's causing traffic. It's causing, it's not healthy to have, that kind of traffic going through. And I think we do need a bypass.
Right. Well, we've always had some truck traffic downtown, but I know with the rock quarry opening out on Boston Road, all that traffic, wherever they want to go, they generally have to come through town. So, and that just increases the congestion. All right, Don. Well, I want to thank you for your time today, and we've had a good conversation. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
All right, Don. We'll catch you later. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Get the phones hung up here. All right. That was Don Thrasher, and good conversation with Don this morning, Margie.
Yes.